that you are watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Sean Paul Leck.
And together we are
Rope Break.
How's every single one of you, family? It is like a few minutes after the show was over, so we're going to ready to talk about the whole Go Home show for Survivor Series, and was it shit?
Oh, it was. It started, and the show, when they're starting off with like one of the hottest feuds in their minds, the Street Profits and the New Day. You know, you just knew the show was going to be set up for failure, and it's awful to say that Raw was a lot better than this show. You know,
Yes.
We put over Raw. We said great main event for Raw, you know, on Monday. And, you know, NXT was pretty good main event. AEW was a good show. NXT UK always delivers. And then it's like, can we get something legit on Friday? No.
Can we get a good go-home show for like one of the main 4 pay-per-views that WWE has had, you know, historically? No.
Never.
No. You know, we got one of the worst go-home shows that I've seen, you know, in the last 10 years. So, John Paul, not, you know, this is going to be to the point, sweet, you know, for every single one of you family. We love you. Thank you for all the love and support. So, you know, don't forget, like, to want to talk about really great shows. Let's talk about what Jean Paul just mentioned. NXT review. Kaylee Lee retains, and she's dominating the women's division. You know, a really great match, Falls Count Anywhere with Piper Niven. As you guys see in the thumbnail, Jeannie got involved, and that's because the reason that Kylie Ray retained, right, Jean Paul?
Yes, and then also a hype package for next week. You know, the finals of the Heritage Cup. Really looking forward to that as well.
Exactly, you know. And so, Jean Paul, let's go right to the action. Like you said, 5 seconds into the show, we already want to change the channel. Why? Because we get this, Jean Paul. The Street Profits, Jean Paul, and like they, you know, it's like Montez Ford and Dawkins. They just talking about, you know, the match what they're gonna have with the New Day, like Survivor Series. They start to do the Undertaker's pose, all of that. So like I'm like, really, you know, like this is the worst way to start like a show for me, at least. Then we get to see this guy, Jean Paul. Big E joins the action, and he was also like imitating Taker, and then he tries to like scare like the Street.
Yeah, he had a sombrero, and I was like, really?
Yeah, so like I'm like, really? So, you know, Angelo Dawkins goes like, you know, can we be friends with you, Big E? But like you know, on Sunday we're gonna like you beat your brothers. And Big E announces like, hey guys, you know, don't be bullshit, because actually they're here. My guys are here. They knew they are here. So that's how they started the show. So Jean Paul, I'm already like want to throw up after this. You know, this is bad because Big E was supposed to be inserted into the Survivor Series team. That wasn't the case, and we got this. You know, the New Day.
Everybody said with the New Day last week how earlier this week on Monday how cringy that was. You know, Kofi's like, "Oh, you're the jerk business," and all this. Like they're just so awful on the mic. You know, it's like, okay, Xavier Woods comes back, like it's legit. You know, it's always good when somebody can come back from injury. And now I'm like, can they all be injured again? Can they all just, you know, go on the shelf? Because having them back it's awful.
It should never, you know, it's just like they should be split up, you know, like they shouldn't be champions. If they wouldn't be champions, it wouldn't be as annoying, because the fact that they're selling us this kind of match, the New Day against the Street Profits, I like them best.
And I think it's because it's the same shit every single time we see them. It's the who they have their 3, you know, things that they always have to say and do in each promo that they do, and it's like, oh, we've seen this how many times? They say, oh, 10-time, you know, WWE Tag Team Champion. No, well, then you don't need to win anymore. You're done. Exactly. You're done.
You're like Charlotte Flair, you know, like you're like Roman. It's cringy. It's boring. We don't need to see it. We don't care for it. Do something new. Be heel. Bring Francesca, but like use Francesca for something, you know.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case. So Xavier Woods was cutting a promo, Jean Paul, and he says, you know, I know the Street Profits want to smoke, but we are, you know, fire, and, you know, on Sunday you will be dead. You know, dead man. So, like, I mean, whatever. They did the Undertaker's pose. They did all of that. But then Jean Paul actually liberated her. He tried to liberate us this time, Jean Paul. So he
tried. He tried.
You know, I want to be thankful to Sami Zayn. He came out and he's saying, you know, like the Undertaker chose to retire because, like, he actually chokeslammed me on Madison Square Garden last year. So, you know, it's all good. But, like, you know, guys, like, I'm better than you because, you know, I have not forgiven the Undertaker for, you know, such betrayal. And then all of a sudden, even we get King Corbin, Jean Paul. So this is getting really, really bad. The first, you know, 10 minutes of this are really, really terrible. So, like, the New Day, and they're talking with, like, Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin. They're like, oh, you know, guys, it's cool. How about, like, you know, like, we should make a tag team match here, or, like, you guys don't even go in this show. And then we actually get to see these older losers. Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, Jean Paul. Why? I don't even care. What was this?
Are they on Monday night? Aren't they Monday Night Raw?
No, they're SmackDown.
Are they SmackDown now? Yeah. See, that's the whole point I'm trying to make here. Nobody knows which division any of these tag teams go on, and that's the one that matters most is that nobody cares.
Yes.
And there's not a single person watching this segment unless you're absolute New Day mark. You don't care. You watch this and you're like, this is so bad because you know what they're gonna do. You see all these guys out there. What are they going to do? Are they going to set up some kind of tag match? But don't worry, folks, because you think, 6 guys? How can you do a tag match out of that? Oh, it gets worse, believe me.
Yeah, it gets worse because remember, they were trying to be, we want to be tag team champions, and of course they had to do the breaking it's like, well, whoever wins from these two teams, because they wanted like Corbin and also Sami Zayn to go against Roode and Ziggler. It's like, no, like you said, Jean Paul. Well, how can we make this worse? How can we make people change the channel faster than the line-in? Yeah, let's put the Street Profits, add them with a New Day, and then we make an A-tag match. Very typical SmackDown. I didn't like this. I didn't care for this. It wasn't needed. Like you said, there was no reason for this, especially because, it didn't mean anything for Survivor Series. There you go. I just don't understand, Jean Paul. And like you said, 5 minutes in, what happens, Jean Paul? Sami Zayn gets tagged in, and what happens?
Yeah, he is tagged in and done. Montez Ford is splash and done, and it was so stupid because what did this prove? What did this prove for Survivor Series? It wasn't like, if Big E, you should have had the Street Profits and the New Day on different teams, and then maybe Big E cost them the win, or if you would have did something, but you put the two opponents that are baby faces on the. To be honest, when they were like, "Oh, this match," I'm like, "Okay, the promo work between these two teams is really cringy at most times, but at least in ring, this match should be good." Now, like the more I see this and build towards it, the more I could care less about this tag team match.
Oh yeah, well, like you said, like the one thing is like you said, cause tension between the two of them. You know what I mean? Because like you said, Big E kind of like causes them the match, or like, hey, like distraction by let's say we're in the same team, right? One of them misses, and like let's say Dawkins ends up hitting like Xavier. Something happens. They make a mistake, something in between the lines, and then the heels win because the heels, okay, this win doesn't matter for anybody. It's not worth it for anything.
Yeah, and who looks like the biggest loser? Like you said, Sami Zayn going into Bobby Lashley, which he's probably going to get ripped apart in 5 minutes anyway. So what's the point?
And what is that telling you about the IC champion? Or the IC champion? Done. They don't give like a single fuck about that situation. I don't understand why, because the IC championship should be like after the WWE championship is supposed to be like the most prestigious title. So like you said, like 5 minutes in, he doesn't even get to have a good match. Done. And it gets worse, Jean Paul, because like we get to the return of Daniel Bryan, and he's actually kind of talking to Kayla Braxton. It's not even kind of a problem. He's like, so I'm back. And then right here, Sami Zayn is like, hey, like, can you just like this? I wasn't prepared for this. Kind of complain about what happened just in the match, and Daniel Bryan is like, stop complaining. Like, what the fuck? Like you guys, we got to see another interaction between these two guys, and Daniel Bryan pushes Sami Zayn, and he's like, so this is not over, Jean Paul. This is not over. I'm gonna come back. After if I wouldn't have a match at Survivor Series, you will be next. So I'm afraid that Daniel Bryan is gonna take the IC championship from Sami Zayn. If that happens, WWE completely are booking this absolutely wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get this, especially because then was it because that was at a commercial break? Was it when they came back from commercial? Then Kayla Braxton was talking to Daniel Bryan legit. Like, as then they were standing there, and then she actually interviewed him, and I'm like, what was the whole point of this interaction? Just to tease that this is going to be the next feud? It's like, we've seen this.
And this is even worse, right, Jean Paul? Like the one you're talking about. Look, see the whole thing that happened with like Jay Uso.
Yeah, because we've seen, we've seen this feud before, and you have all these new guys on, on SmackDown with the draft and everything. So why not do something new? Like, you have Chad Gable. We saw him a little bit tonight, or there's so many different people you could feud against Sami Zayn. It's like, do we really need to see Daniel Bryan again? But
no, exactly. So this was like absolutely bad, and then they're hyping their match because they're gonna have the main event is gonna be Daniel Bryan against Jay Uso. So
at least it wasn't the 8-man tag.
At least, yeah, but I mean, the beginning of the show absolutely terrible. We get to actually see the latest pick of the SmackDown men's team for Survivor Series, and it's gonna be Otis. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, so this was, I guess, a little decent. You got to see like Chad Gable. He's like, oh, like you're the last member. You got a good story. You're legit. You kind of lost the Money in the Bank briefcase for no reason. You were the one making out with Mandy Rose. So you, out of everybody, the one that has had the best year in 2020 is you. All the legitness, and then he like Chad Gable is like, well, we're gonna train you for it. We gotta get ready for the match, so that's cool. Then Jean Paul, we got to see Natalia asking for like a spot in the women's Survivor Series team because, like, well, you give something to Otis, but what about me? Like, don't worry, Natalia. You're gonna have your opportunity to win something once you beat Tamina. So whichever wins out of the two will get a spot in the Survivor Series.
Yeah, because he's like, I did make a selection because he was allowed to make one. He's like, and I chose Bayley. So then we got the little thing there. So, and we heard from her later on, but so now we know, okay, what's Bayley's role? Like you and I were saying, oh, maybe she's going to take a break. Maybe she's going to, relax. But no, she's going to be on the Survivor Series team. I like that. This whole thing with Natalia is like, I guess they're just having her on TV just to do it. But, I mean, Otis is a good pick for the Survivor Series team. I think so.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely, Jean Paul. Then Seth Rollins pretty much was saying, like, a really quick promo. He's saying that he's going to destroy Buddy Murphy because, like, hey, you even have a Leah now. Everything happened because of me, because I show you the greater good. You understood everything. You were my disciple. But today, I'm going to rip you apart. And, and then you're going to go to hell because it's done. So, like, kind of like a good narrative. So now, Jean Paul, we get to see actually Bianca Miller. She was actually a guest, the commentary team. And, the line that I sent you, like the message, right, is like, oh, last year you were not part of a good team or like a main team, right? Like
he was like, oh, you were in the Survivor Series match last year, but now you're on, a real team or something like that. It's like, oh, like didn't Team NXT win the Survivor Series match for the women?
NXT wins the Survivor Series like thing, and oh yeah, now you're part of a real team. That's great, Michael.
Yeah, like thanks.
How and that line was fed by like Vince McMahon.
So definitely, and also, well, I mean, Michael Cole drinks the same juice that Vince McMahon drinks, so Vince probably didn't have to feed it to him too much. But don't you like how when Bianca's on commentary, she talks all like, very like calm and isn't screaming, even though when she cuts a promo, she has the fire and everything. But like here, she was talking like a human being, unlike her husband and his best friend when they're on commentary.
Oh yeah, like exactly.
I just want to point that out, Montez. Maybe calm it down a little bit. Take some lessons from your wife here.
From your wife, absolutely. So, like, they had the match. This was absolutely, like 2 minutes. Nobody really cared for, and in the end...
Yeah, and Bayley was actually on commentary, too, because she came out at this. Yeah, so then there was... You saw some friction between Bianca and Bayley, so I could see that being the next feud. Maybe Bianca wins that and then moves on to challenge Sasha. But like you said, yeah, this match was 2 minutes, sharpshooter and done. It's like, does anybody care about Tamina?
We got to see the Riot spot right there, Jean Paul. Good legs by Ruby Riot. We got to mention that, of course, and like you said, sharpshooter right here. A little bit of cake, and Natalia gets added to the thing. And Bayley actually, since she named herself the captain, she goes, everybody needs to come. So, and she called, like, Natalia, she called, like, the Riot Squad. The Riot Squad was actually going just to, like, kind of, like, have, like, a celebration, like, something, because they need to hype it up for the Survivor Series. Did you like this? I was like, so, this was, like, actually bad for me. I didn't really like any of this interaction, Jean Paul.
No, I mean, and, like, I've been saying on Monday Night Raw, we've been saying for how long, it's just, the Survivor Series isn't SmackDown versus Raw, it's more Raw is feuding with themselves and SmackDown is feuding with themselves. So, like I said, I could see this team falling apart. Obviously, the Riot Squad's going to stick together. They're their own unit. But, like, Bayley and Bianca, I think, are going to have a little maybe back and forth. Natalia's probably going to get the first woman pinned on SmackDown. And then the same thing with Raw. Obviously, you have the tensions over there with Peyton Royce, Lacey Evans, and Lana, and then against obviously the SmackDown or the women's tag team champs. So there's just whole dissensions between the teams. I really don't like the build for any of this stuff at all. Like, and I'm normally a big fan of the typical Survivor Series matches, but yeah, I'm not a fan of any of these. I'm more for just the individual matches, like like Roman and Drew.
It's just been really bad. It's been just really bad. Like the main, like the singles matches, like you said, like the matchups are really good. Like you said, Roman and Asuka and Sasha, to me, is like we've seen it already. So, like, really, it's like, we saw it throughout the whole summer. So, it's like more of the same. I'm really not really looking forward. But, like, this Survivor Series, like, instead of being great, it's just going to be, like, one of, like, the weaker ones, for me at least. But the most, what I'm looking forward is The Undertaker. And it's just because I'm
they're not even hyping that up. Like the hype is okay. Let's here's the Mortician, here's the Brothers of Destruction, and then you got like the fucking New Day and the Street
and
Profits.
Everybody's just mocking. Everybody just mocking the thing that like everybody, nobody.
Why don't we see let's see Kane, or where's Ted DiBiase, or let's get that fucking ass kisser Bruce Pritchard. Why don't you have them cut like little 5-minute things? Oh, I walked out with the Undertaker, and at his first appearance,
more meaningful than the whole roster. Like you said, I agree with you. So now, Jean Paul, let's go to this. That absolutely unnecessary. There is no reason to have a contract signing because the match is supposed to happen because it's Survivor Series Raw against SmackDown, champion versus champion. So why is there a reason for a contract signing?
Because this is the problem. The problem is just it's everything and everybody, all the powers that be are involved. That's the problem. People loved this last week. Oh, this Drew and Roman, such legit promos. The two big guys. I even said I really liked it. I still like it. But then WWE, they're like, how can we ruin this? How can we force this down everybody's throats so much that they like it, and then now they hate it? And then they're like, let's do a contract signing. It's like, this was pointless. If anything, you should have just had Roman be in the ring, cut a promo, and then boom, you can have Drew's face appear on the screen. He can fire back a promo, and then you end it.
That's it, yeah.
But no, we need a contract signing.
Yeah, but it looks so stupid because you don't need a contract signing.
Yeah.
No, the match was already gone. It was official. So what the hell is the contract signing for? I just don't understand. This was actually, like you said, kind of like the best part of the show, but at the same time, it went too long and I lost completely my investment. I kind of lost track because Roman Reigns talked for the whole time, and it was like a really more like a conversation rather than kind of a promo. And he kept talking and talking, and Drew pretty much said one or two things. That's it. So what do you think about this whole thing? I just I didn't like this at all.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I because Drew, he is the intensity. He's fired up, but Roman is just, he downplays it all, and he's just like, oh, I like that. Yeah, he's just, like you said, he's just real quiet. He's like, you come to my show, you think you're better than me. He's like, Drew, he's like, you're the right guy in the right place, but at the wrong time, because I'm here. Nobody cares about you or knows who you are while I'm here. And like you said, he just talks real quiet and real slow. And I think that's see how it gets under your skin and you're like, this is I hate this. It's supposed to be the same thing for Drew. He's a heel, and he's doing it well. So that's why I'm not like, this is so bad. The thing that I hate the most is like what we said, a couple seconds ago, which is, why is there a contract signing for something that a contract doesn't need to be signed for?
Yeah, we will.
And then, like we said, Drew was good, but he barely said much, and then he just sits there the whole time and is just like, so, as Roman puts him down, and so we'll see. I mean, I hope they do the right thing, and I hope they put Drew over. If not, it's got to be something completely bullshit, like Heyman punches him in the balls or something when the refs. It's got to be something okay, clearly.
Screwy finish. It has to be a really screwy finish, and like you said, like Roman said, those things that you said, I'm the face, I'm the head of the table. I hate that. I head of the table. I don't like that. And in the end, he make Drew like a fool. Like you said, it should have been both of them standing tall, maybe like you said, stare down or something, but both of them look good.
Yeah, because Drew even said
he leaves.
Yeah, because Drew's like, I'm not going to destroy this table, or I'm not going to, get in a fight. We're not, none of that shit's going to happen. We're going to save it for Sunday. And then Roman just, laughs at him, and then Drew just, sits there and is like, so...
Yeah, and look, and then Roman leaves, and then Drew stays like an idiot because they were playing the Roman Reigns' theme song. And I was like, really? And then, they don't even do anything with Drew, and then finally the camera focuses on Drew, and then... I'm like, really? This looked even worse, like you said, bad at all, Jean Paul. So now let's go to another video, a long package of the rivalry with Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. The Mysterios are involved. This was a good match, though. At least they gave us something good when it comes to match quality, and this was Seth Rollins, beating the crap out of Murphy, but Murphy returns, a decent attack, and actually Murphy gets a win over Rollins, so probably the biggest win of his career. What do you think, Jean Paul?
Yeah, I like this match a lot. I wish it was a little bit longer, and I wish it was on a pay-per-view. You could have did this as a undercard match for Survivor Series, or a pre-show, or whatever, or maybe just the SmackDown after. Because I felt like it was lost on this show. We had the promo from Rollins, the video package, everything, and then the Mysterio family all comes out with Murphy, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, I guess, whatever. But like, I didn't like how Ray and Dominic, like Seth Rollins, just beat the shit out of them like they were two like security guard jobbers in the match. They came and he just like threw them into the barricade, threw them here, threw them, and I'm like, okay, like didn't Dominic like almost beat Seth Rollins? It didn't, Rey Mysterio actually beat Seth Rollins. So I'm like, but now he can just throw him around like it's nothing. So I'm like, whatever. But this was good. I like when, he hit the stomp and then he got his foot on the ropes. That was a good spot like you have right there.
Yeah.
And then when, he hit, I think it was 2 or 3 knee strikes in a row. Then he hit Murphy's Law. And I actually thought Rollins wasn't going to get pinned there because it was like the take forever count. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be like an Earl Hebner, like 1, 2, and then he kicks out, but like no, he pinned him, and then of course the Mysterio family all celebrates. So like you said, is this something with Rollins? Becky Lynch is probably going to be expecting soonish. I forget, it's been so long since she's been out.
It's in a few weeks, yes. So
so maybe they're giving after Survivor Series.
Yes. No, like he won't. Like you said, after Survivor Series, he will be done. The Becky is supposed to deliver in like 2 weeks or so. That's what I read in the last like Meltzer thing. Meltzer, like he pretty much called Becky like, when are you done? Okay, good. Yeah. Right there. So like it's good, and also like it favors Buddy Murphy, so that's good because like he needed like a few
and see like we said Daniel Bryan. Hopefully he's kind of maybe doing the Roman Reigns, still feuding with Jay Uso, because to me that guy right there, Buddy Murphy, that's who you go against the Great Liberator. That's who you make the IC champ right there.
Yeah, and then it will be something different, something that you love, something that we care about. Instead of like the normal crap that you're giving us every single Friday.
Yeah, and this guy was legit. He got, cruiserweight champion, got called up. He was doing nothing. He almost killed Roman Reigns by pushing that shit on him. He was teaming with Daniel Bryan and all that stuff. Now he built his way up. Now look, IC champ. To me, that's legit.
Yeah, he was a tag champion with Rollins. So all of that. So like you said, that didn't work because remember also like Austin Theory and all of that and like all that stuff. So
AOP done.
AOP done. All like the Disciples, that didn't work out because thanks to the AOP that no longer work in the WWE. So all of that stuff. But as the Mysterios are celebrating, they're all hugging. They're like, we did the right there, Sasha Banks.
I don't even think Ray got to like fully hug Dominic, and then you just hear I'm like, really? This was like Finn Balor walking in on Io Shirai's music.
Again, the timing of these shows are getting really bad. I don't understand why, but like,
and see, this is the thing. It's like it's okay. I get there's no crowd there, but like, imagine if you're an audience. Like, can you present your show a little bit better? Like, it's like, come on, just because there's no crowd there doesn't mean you can run shit, crappy.
Like it is really crappy. It looks rushed, and it looks like the timing of everything just looks bad. And then we got like a promo about both girls. Sasha like saying like she's the face of the WWE. She's gonna beat Asuka, like like all the time. Asuka, of course, like nobody's ready, or you're not the boss of me now. Kind of going the Malcolm way. I kind of like that a little bit. But
Malcolm Bivens. Oh, Malcolm in the middle. Malcolm in the middle. Yeah. No, but how about Michael Cole? Oh, this is a very heated feud. You took the title from Asuka, the Raw Women's Championship from Asuka, and it's so he tries to start shit up. And like I said, Sasha she came off as kind of heel in this to me, and I'm like, okay, I guess for the sake of the match, you need to make somebody a heel. Otherwise, it's not a very interesting match, like logic and storytelling wise, if they're both baby faces, at least for me. So I'm fine that they make Sasha the heel. She plays it better anyway. But the thing I cringed for, and I'm like, you know what? I agree with Booker T. I hate Sasha now. When she's like, Michael Cole, what time is it? And he's like,
it's boss time.
It's boss time. And I'm like, oh, like, really? Yeah. Like, really? Like, I always knew I liked Bayley more. Now this cements it for me. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, like, it's just like, it's very cringy. And again, for me, at least, Jean Paul, I've seen this so many times already that what can they do to make me care? Nothing.
And then how about the end of it? Like, then Carmella comes out and beats the shit out of her, and Asuka stands. I mean, I'm not saying Asuka should have helped her, but maybe after like a punch or two, Asuka could have threw Carmella off and been like, no, this is my opponent. Like, at least be like, look honorable and be like, legit. She just watched her get her ass kicked. So I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. I would have done that at Survivor Series. I know it's like, oh, it would have been legit to see one of the women win clean, But, Asuka then can get the win. Sasha can lose, but she lost because of Carmella. I would have did that at the pay-per-view, not here tonight, but they'll probably end up doing it at the pay-per-view as well, so it won't have the same effect since we saw it almost, 2 days in a row.
I agree with you, but I just feel like, you know what, they're going to do it twice. So they're going to do the thing, on Survivor Series, and that's going to be how, Asuka's going to beat Sasha Banks, because why? Asuka's going to get the win, the point for Monday Night Raw, and then this demands, the rivalry for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
It'll probably be super kick into an Asuka lock, and then...
And then done. And, we get to... And that's how we're going to see, the same picture. Remember, family, the only thing instead of SmackDown is going to say Survivor Series. That'll be pretty much what we have, Jean Paul. So let's go now to the main event, and that's Daniel Bryan going against Jay Uso. They had a good match, pretty decent. Daniel Bryan is a pretty good wrestler. We know that. We don't have to mention how good he is. And Jay, he's okay. At least we know, like you said, from these feuds, we know that Jay is this guy, not Jimmy. So this was okay. That's all I gotta say on this, Jean Paul.
Oh, so he's Jimmy and not Jay. Oh, so you got jokes, Oos, huh? You got jokes, Oos. This match, like you said, it was okay. Is this still going to continue on with the family? The tribe, whatever you want to call it, the head of the table, the tribal chief, the bloodline, the family line feud. Is Daniel Bryan in this thing? Is The Rock in this thing? I feel that's the whole thing. They don't know. They don't know what the end result of this is. Is it Roman versus The Rock? Roman versus Daniel Bryan? Is it Roman versus Drew?
That's how we feel. Both on the floor, done. Yeah.
They don't know what this whole storyline and feud is going to go. So that's why this was the main event for a go home show for Survivor Series. Am I saying this match was bad? No, but this match had literally nothing to do with Survivor Series. You know what I mean? It had no implications. It wasn't like, if Daniel Bryan beats Jay, Daniel Bryan's on the team. It wasn't like, if he beats him, he gets a shot at Roman Reigns, in 2 weeks from now or so. It was like literally, it was nothing. And it was, it was good. But how come, at the end of the thing, Daniel Bryan hit the yes kicks, and then it's like, okay. But then, Jay fired back. He hit 2-3 super kicks. He went up for the splash. How come you couldn't have him roll out of the way of the splash, hit the running knee, 1, 2, 3, and done? He had to get a fucking roll-up win. It's like, okay, I'm sorry, but Daniel Bryan, to me, is on a pedigree that's a little bit higher than Jay Uso. Jay Uso beat him once, let Daniel Bryan get a legit win instead of a roll-up, because I don't think, the feud should have been Bryan and Roman, but I think it's going to be Bryan and Jay. I could see them having another match, and I'm like, really? I don't want to see this.
And that really sucks. Yeah, so that was pretty much the main event. I don't know what they're gonna do with Daniel Bryan, because remember what they teased with the Liberator. So if he's gonna go to the IC feud, I'm like, he needs to feud with Roman. A lot of people were saying that will be the main feud, and maybe Bryan be the one that takes the title off Roman. That would be good, but I don't know if this is the beginning of that, because he make me say I went over Jay, so the next one is you. But then, if that's the path that they're going, why would they tease?
Well, the only thing I'm going to say is I think whoever wins the Royal Rumble is probably going to go after Roman. Because the last couple Royal Rumble winners have been, on the Raw side of things, going after Lesnar or whoever. So I could see going after Roman. Does that mean Daniel Bryan's going to win? We know the other big rumor was Big E.
Yep.
So, we'll see where they go. But, yeah, that was SmackDown. And like we've been saying, it wasn't a very good show. To be honest, for Go Home, I will say, I'm still looking forward to Survivor Series. But the tag team match and the Survivor Series traditional matches, not so much, but we'll see. I am looking forward to the men's one, though, just because of Team Raw. I do love, Sheamus, Matt Riddle, all that interaction is enjoyable, so we'll see.
It's a lot better, so we'll see what they do. And also, like I said, NXT is just really missed this year because of what they did last year. Survivor Series was actually
But look at NXT, though. It's in shambles. What are you going to have? Leon Ruff versus Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn?
Are you going to have a... No wonder they did that. Now you're making me think. That's why they did that.
You're going to have not Finn Balor, go against... So that Drew... And even if it was... I love Finn, but, you have Drew... You have Roman, and then you have Finn. You know what I'm saying? You have these two big guys, and then Finn, he's, injured. Finn's legit, but... And then who are the tag champs? Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch in the match with the Street Profits. That doesn't look right. That doesn't fit,
It's not like
So,
that. Like I mean, like they kind of missed out with the whole booking thing. It's just a little weak for me. Like so, we'll see. But again, Robert will be covering everything in Spanish and English.
mhm.
We're gonna have previews and predictions tomorrow, family. We're gonna be talking about the Undertaker because this actually Survivor Series is based on the Undertaker. So, Jean Paul, remind everybody where they can find us in the social media world, please.
Well, you can find us on Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, the original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course, right here for the number one podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the original Rope Break.
And don't forget, family, subscribe. The bell for all notifications. We put videos every single week, the best content in wrestling and soccer. So, Jean Paul, you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is.